Hi, welcome back to the Radial podcast. I'm Devin, joined by Jeff.
Hello.
And special guest, Jonathan Davis.
I don't know how special, though.
Yeah, returning special guest, Jonathan Davis.
Hello.
Did I make a corn joke last time?
I don't know.
I probably did. Think of a corn joke in your head and just put it in right here. Austin is not here, as you might be able to notice by him having not said anything, because he is busy moving into a new house this weekend, so we brought in a guest.
Mm-hmm. Yes. These are all accurate statements.
Yes. This weekend was the British GP, last race of the triple header in Formula One, which they've already said they're not going to do again next year.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's kind of more of a bummer that I didn't
because
actually go.
I've really been enjoying the back-to-back races.
Yeah.
I am actually kind of glad that this was the last one because I am kind of exhausted from having to go through these races every weekend, so it'll be nice to have like a little bit of a breather.
Now imagine you were a driver, and now imagine you were Fernando Alonso, who also had a fourth race the week before France.
And sort of hates his job anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's got a lot of money, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think they stated the reason they aren't going to do it again next year is like, oh, everyone is super tired.
It's a good reason.
And yeah, especially, I imagine, Alonso.
That seems like
the
it's
24 hours of Le Mans the week
gonna
before.
Be hard. They're either going to have to just do more double header weekends or like back-to-back weekends because there's even more races next year, right?
I think there's one. No, I don't think there are more races next year.
Well, if Miami shows up.
Well, I don't think Germany's coming back next year. I think Germany's showing up this year for the first time in several years and then not coming back again next year.
Poor Germany.
Germany's a mess.
I mean, they're not really. Germany's actually doing pretty good.
The racetracks in Germany
are
a mess,
mess
and
financially.
Can't get their shit together. No other racing I'm interested in happened this weekend, at least. I guess Formula 2.
Formula 2 happened.
But I did not watch that. But no Super Formula or anything. So it was really just all about F1 this weekend for me. We'll start with a bit of news over at McLaren.
Yeah. Eric Boullier got fired over a bunch of Freddos. Or because the team's racing poorly. One of the two.
One of the two.
I still haven't got my Freddos in the mail.
It's because you ordered chocolate bars
from England.
Also, that's going to be a gross
just sacks
fucking
of
box.
Melted chocolate.
Well, if you order them right, they should come refrigerated, right? But
I can't imagine that they will.
Don't have any.
What are we talking about? You've got chocolate on the way from McLaren?
No, so McLaren bought Freddos supposedly to reward their team for putting in extra hours.
Freddos?
Freddos.
Is that?
It's an English chocolate bar.
Okay.
It's got it's in the image of a frog, I guess.
Oh,
like a
okay.
cartoonish frog.
Gotcha.
Anyway, so yeah, they gave their team members some chocolate bars to thank them for working hard, and some people were pissed.
Yeah,
so
I would be too.
I bought some because I wanted to feel what they feel.
Sort of like that story in that Ross Braun book.
Yeah, I brought that up.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Hot tip: don't give somebody worthless garbage as a thank you.
Mm-hmm. These are also very inexpensive. So yeah, so Eric Boullier resigned.
Yeah, he resigned. And yeah, so hopefully McLaren can try to do something different now.
It's kind of funny because wasn't it like just the prior week where he was like, "No, why would I resign? Well, it takes time to get there. I've won it. All the other teams I've been at. Why would I resign now? I'm going to resign."
Yep.
So he was team principal, right?
Yes.
Okay.
No, he was director of racing operations.
Oh,
Racing operations.
yeah.
Okay. They were like, he's going to resign and we're going to restructure our management. And it's going to be more streamlined. And they basically replaced him with like 3 more people, which doesn't seem streamlined at all.
Which seems bad because they replaced Ron Dennis with 3 guys before that. So if you're replacing one of your 3 guys with 3 more guys, like that seems just awful.
It's like if you cast the net wide enough, eventually you're going to catch a fish.
Yeah.
I guess they're hoping for it.
I can't remember the name of the guy they replaced him with.
Which one?
Well, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I forgot. As we just said, it's 3 guys. It is a Simon Roberts, Andrea Stella, and Gil de Ferran is the new sporting director, which seems the most like team principal. I don't know if McLaren really has like somebody as a team principal.
Zach Brown is the team
I think
principal.
Zach Brown's CEO of McLaren Racing. I don't think he's really the team principal.
Okay, yeah.
It's weird. McLaren, it's weird.
Yeah, I've been meaning to watch that documentary to sort of get a few insights into what is going on in terms of their like chassis and engine development, because it covers specifically the relationship with Honda, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
it is
very
all about
optimistic.
that, and then about like Stoffel, and they're like, yeah, everything's gonna go great. And
And
like
then they're like, this is a problem.
yeah, and Zach Brown is just like, yeah, we got Eric here. And when Eric came on, they were like, hey, Eric, what do you need for us to win? And he's like, I don't care what we do as long as we get Fernando Alonso. And it's like,
Maybe like take back 15 million or something and put it back into the car.
yeah,
like,
maybe.
yes, he is the best driver, but if he was driving a lawnmower,
Yeah.
it's not exactly a good fit.
Speaking of, Kimmy did some lawnmower racing this weekend.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, it was funny to see him in just like shorts and polo, and then just racing helmet.
And likely drunk.
Probably,
Oh, yeah.
you like to assume.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Alonso's probably going to be gone, and then it's going to be weird for Stoffel to be like the senior driver at that team.
So who
Assuming they keep
is
Stoffel.
yeah, who's coming in then?
No,
Lando Norris.
Lando Norris, that's it.
Most likely.
it's not guaranteed that Alonso's gone, but
Yeah.
Alonso's probably gone.
Yeah, and
So you think there's just like a permanent departure or something that, you know, he'll go spread his wings, try out some other disciplines, try to get that triple crown, and then return once he sees an opportunity?
I assume he goes to IndyCar and then never comes back because he's already too old.
How old is he?
He's like 37, I think.
37?
36, 37.
And I think Kimmy's 38 and he's the
Yep.
oldest on the grid. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think if he like left for a few years, by the time he'd come back, he'd be in his 40s and like no one would want him. Because like how much longer could he last?
Yeah.
Like, just bring in these fresh kids. Yeah. Speaking of Formula 2, like we did for literally 1 second, like 5 minutes ago.
That's sick.
Thank you. And you know it's a good segue because we called it out. News over in Formula 2, over at the Trident Formula 2 team, which has Santino Ferrucci and Arjun Maini as their two drivers, both of which are Haas development drivers. And Jeff, what's up with that?
It seems that Santino Ferrucci intentionally rammed his teammate, and then he posted on Twitter saying that, Miney said, there's something wrong with my teammate's brain. He needs to be banned. And then Ferrucci retorted with, says the one that cries on the radio, I just did my drug test, so I'm all clear, winky emoji. Maybe if they showed what you did to me during the race, more people would understand. So basically he's saying, you were mean to me during the race, so I rammed you during a safety car.
It was during a safety car?
Well,
He'll fit right in Formula One.
yeah. And at Haas, perfect.
Yeah.
sorry, not the safety car. The
I was
slow
thinking
down
about Ferrari,
lap.
but
I took
geez.
slow down lap to mean safety car, but that probably means the lap after
Yeah.
the conclusion of the race, which is arguably worse.
Yeah.
Because there's no confusion as to whether or not you're still racing because you've finished.
Yeah.
it's like one of the few times it's literally impossible for it to be a racing incident.
Yep.
Except for that one time that
Stroll and
Stroll
Vettel.
and Vettel ran into each other last
Yeah.
year.
Boy, that was dumb.
That was dumb.
Dumb.
But we got to see another car driver ride on top of a car side pod, and I'm all for that business.
Yeah. I don't know if I can't remember if we talked about a few weeks ago Arjun Mani like came over the radio in his Formula 2 race and was like basically crying and just be like, yeah, they're destroying our careers with these terrible cars that they're giving us that have like performance and reliability is just all over the place. And they're supposed to be like a spec series. It's like, it's destroying my career in this garbage car every weekend.
Did you see the race organizers respond to that?
I did not.
They were like, "Huh, weird. If there's a performance thing, why haven't they asked us to do a performance test or put the cars on the chassis dyno to see if they're acting weird?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's a very corporate-y response."
But I assume this dude's 15 or 16 and has dreams of Formula One, and
He's watching them shatter.
blaming his car and watching his dream shatter. So that was what Ferrucci was talking about with him crying on the radio.
Yeah, I took that to mean whining, and then I forgot that was the kid that was basically literally sobbing on the radio.
Yeah.
So,
Which, again, understandable, I think.
yeah.
Especially if he's actually got problems and he's 15 or 16 probably.
I feel like at that point you should be a little bit more aware of the media and how they're going to perceive your actions on the radio. It's sort of
I took it as he wanted to get that out to the media and then probably just couldn't keep his composure and started crying during it.
yeah, but he's also got a lot of adrenaline pumping through his system. Right?
Yeah, he's just trying to raise attention to this thing he thinks is a problem. But so in response to Ferrucci ramming his teammate, he's been suspended for the next 2 races.
And fined €60,000.
That sounds like a lot of money, but
He's a teenager, I assume, as well.
I assume
but
his
he's
dad's
also
rich.
probably very wealthy.
Yeah. And also his team has come out and seems like they are pretty much done with him after this, which again, understandable. They've said that they're showing solidarity and support to Arjun Miney and for the unsportsmanlike and above all uncivilized behavior that he was forced to endure because of Santino Ferrucci and his father.
His father was out there ram him, do it.
I guess maybe his father also posted some shit on social media. I don't know shit about Santino Ferrucci's dad. And then follow up from that, from his team, quote, "The contractual implications of what has happened will be dealt with by our lawyers. Never in these 12 years of sporting activity has anything even close to this ever occurred. We apologize for the show that we have regretfully offended." Sorry, regretfully offered.
That sounds serious.
Yeah, it seems like we're going to get our lawyers and do whatever it takes to get rid of this kid.
Oh, yes, they did fire him.
Oh.
Ferrucci terminated by F2 team after deliberately hitting teammate. That's from Racer.com. I didn't look into it to see if that's accurate or if they're just taking what you said and interpreting as they let go of him.
Yeah, I wonder if Haas cuts him loose too.
Presumably.
Yeah.
They got enough problems with their teammates hitting each other.
Yeah, so that was weird, shocking news from Formula 2 of just this dumb kid did something so stupid that his team hates him.
I need to go watch this race now.
Yeah.
I assume this was from this morning's F2.
Yeah, I assume so.
The sprint race, they call it.
So hopefully that's up on ESPN. We will have to look into that later. But now, let's get into the British Grand Prix.
British Grand Prix started with how many people crashed in practice? Max crashed. Grosjean crashed.
I think Stroll slid off at
Stroll.
one point.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, probably.
I think you can assume Stroll crashed.
Yeah.
The biggest thing out of free practice was in FP3. Hartley's front left suspension just decided it didn't want to exist anymore. It exploded and sent him hurtling him just straight into a wall. And I was surprised to see his car didn't flip more than it did.
Yeah.
It was going 200 miles an hour when it popped, I think, right?
Real shades of Sebastian Buemi from I don't remember how long ago, but you've probably seen the video of cars driving down the road and then both front tires just pop off, which was also at Toro Rosso, funny enough. But that was a long time ago. That's probably 2008, 2009, if I were to guess. But yeah, it was oh, wow, that was crazy. And then because of that, he couldn't qualify.
He couldn't qualify, and they didn't even have his car back together in time for the race.
Yeah, which I think they were changing a bunch of engine components and stuff as well.
Yeah,
but
it sounds like they basically let's build a new car, I guess.
But I'm still surprised they didn't get it done in time for the race.
I've not seen that happen before.
It was really weird. So that was a bummer to be going into the race with Hartley already out. They were trying to get him started, but by lap 2, they pushed him back into the garage and we're yeah, it's done.
Yeah. But back to qualifying now that we started talking about the race.
Yes. So what happened in qualifying? What was the first thing that happened in qualifying?
Some cars went around the track. Oh, Stroll crashed.
Yes.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah, there we go.
So qualifying started in spectacular fashion with Lance Stroll crashing on his first fast lap.
And then causing a red flag.
Red flag the session. And then when it started back up, Sirotkin also went off.
But not before he got penalized for not coming in on the red flag.
Yeah. He apparently did not pit under the red flag when he should have and got penalized for that somehow. I'm not sure what they could do to him that'd be worse than him driving the car. He's already going to start last.
He had to sleep in the car last night. That's what it was.
Williams, terrible qualifying session with both of them fucking up royally.
Yeah, it's just bafflingly bad state of affairs over there.
Yeah. And then the one other thing I can think of from Q1 was surprising that Sainz didn't make it out of Q1, which is the first time he's not made it into Q3 this year.
Yeah, but I mean, he had to contend with, I think it was like the red flag happened when he was trying to do a fast lap maybe, and I think he got stuck in traffic.
And you could definitely tell that the Renaults were down on speed on the straights.
Yes, the commentators kept saying, you take this track at full throttle for 80% of it, which seemed maybe like an exaggeration, but okay.
Yeah.
I'd like to see the telemetry data.
Yeah.
Because that seems stressful.
Yeah, like this is the first time in a long time that like watching the pole lap, I was like, oh, this is a lot.
Yeah.
Like it seemed like they were really going at it for almost the entire time.
Yeah, one of the commentators mentioned that it looked like rallycross because of how much lateral motion there was in the car.
Yeah.
Around those high speed corners.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple really good camera shots during quali, not so much during the race, that really gave you a good like sense of speed of the cars, and you could kind of see like one of them was Hamilton's. Like there was a lot of lateral movement coming out of one of the like complex of corners.
Anything else of note really happened in qualifying?
Leclerc made it into Q3, which is nice.
Did they?
So did Leclerc, right?
I said, is it Leclerc or is it Leclerc?
Yeah, you said McLaren.
Oh, I said Leclerc. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I thought you said McLaren.
Oh, no.
as well.
But yeah, Leclerc made it into Q3, which always happy for that kid to do well.
Yeah, I like that kid.
He
like a good
seems
dude.
good. I cannot wait to see him in a good car.
Yeah. And then Vettel set like the provisional pole lap, and it was really good, and it kind of looked like that was going to end it, and then Hamilton like eked out a just tiny bit faster of a lap to take pole. So Hamilton on pole at home.
Yep. And yeah, so at this point, I actually before the weekend even started, I expected Hamilton to just run this because I think he's won this race the last 5 years.
That doesn't maybe sound right. I know
It's at least
Mercedes
4.
has won the last 4, and presumably Hamilton won them all, unless
Okay. He won the
Nico
last
won one.
4, maybe 5. I don't remember. But yeah, this is like Lewis has been dominant here, I think, pretty much, well, at least 4 years. So it's like, yep, we kind of expect to see that again.
the commentators also made sure to point out another meaningless statistic, that this is Lewis Hamilton's 44th pole as car number 44.
Is that?
Yes.
Was it that?
Yes.
Are you sure you weren't thinking that if he won today, it would have been his 44th win with car 44?
Maybe both.
I don't really care either way.
Yeah.
I also
That's such
do
an
not
arbitrary-
care either way. I don't care how long he's been that number.
Well,
Why just
why don't they just say
meaningless
nothing?
statistics are the worst.
Yeah, well,
All statistics are meaningless.
it's called
No.
legacy building, bruv.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like even like in sometimes like in basketball, they're like, oh, the last time that a team came back from this number of games down in this type of series was blah blah. I'm like, those aren't the same teams. Why are we making this comparison? I don't understand.
They're just basically trying to fill time.
I know.
'Cause otherwise, it's just dead silence. It's weird.
I'm okay with it.
Commentator, yeah, you would be.
Yeah.
Commentators got to talk though.
Commentators got to commentate.
But yeah,
Put it on a shirt.
as you just said, yeah, Lewis takes pole. Vettel is
P2.
P2.
Kimi P3.
Uh,
Bottas P4. Yeah.
Then
And then-
Verstappen, Ricky, Magnussen, Grosjean, Leclerc, and Ocon.
Yeah. So Haas continuing to look pretty good. Best of the rest.
Fuck you.
And yeah, so we go into the race, and Sky had Jensen Button along as a guest commentator this weekend, and he seemed incredibly underused.
Yeah.
Did you watch Jonathan? Did you watch the grid walk with Jensen and Martin Brundle?
Was that the one where
And they talked
England scored during it? I saw it
maybe
thumbnail.
They
but
talked to like a MotoGP rider, and he seemed like an insane person. And he
it just seemed like he was like hopped up on something.
yes, he seemed like a crackhead. They were like, "Who do you think's gonna win?" And he was like, "Oh, I don't know." And he started like walking with them while they were clearly trying to get away to go talk to the next person. And he kept asking them questions about whether or not the LMP1 Porsche 919 would be faster than an F1 car, and then like arguing with them about it. I was like, "What are you doing? What is happening? This is awkward."
Those track walks before the races seem like a mess every time.
Nobody wants to talk to anybody, but they're going to try to make you.
Yep. It's like they are also like actively interrupting conversations and like ruining like these conversations. Like at one point, it was Helmut Marko, Christian Horner, and Cyril Abiteboul were all talking together, and they just like walked up to him and started talking to Christian, and Cyril's just like, "Oh, fuck this then," and just walked away.
Yeah, and then later on,
I could be working.
they were
Yeah.
talking to some woman, I don't know, some guy, and then like Martin Brundle's like reaching around Christian Horner's wife, we think is who that was.
Yeah, I'm
with
pretty sure.
the microphone, like just totally ignoring her and like just standing uncomfortably positioned next to her. And then eventually she's just like, "Well, I'm going to take control of this conversation now," and the other people escaped.
Yeah.
And he made fun of her for wearing Ferrari colors.
Yeah, 'cause she chose to wear a red dress.
It had blue on it.
Yeah, it was just like flowers or something. Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Anyway, race cars.
Race cars.
Race cars. It's hot in England. The track temp.
Yeah, it was like 125 degrees.
Yeah.
52 degrees centigrade, I think, is what they were saying was the surface temperature of the track, which is hotter than Austria last year.
Wow.
So knowing that, I went into this weekend expecting a slew of mechanical failures.
Yeah. Yeah, same. Also, this was the first time we've seen the hard tires this year.
Devin, what did you say right before the race?
Nobody's going to use the hard tires.
Okay.
I was wrong.
Well, I guess at some point because it's almost entirely dependent on peak or optimal temperature of the track for it, right? So, it's not about just having the softest compound. It's about having something that, disintegrates at the right speed.
Yeah,
It's also maybe poor strategy choices. If you pit too early on the mid-range tire, you can't, and you still want to do a one-stop, you can't go to the softer tire.
Yeah.
And I think that's what
Wait,
happened.
what?
So
you
Renault-
have to use two compounds.
Yeah.
Renault started on mediums and then did their first pit stop too early, so they couldn't switch on to softs. It wouldn't last the race. So they
yeah.
went on hards to try and one-stop the race. And that seemed ill-advised.
mostly fine.
No, yeah, it's...
Fine for a Renault.
Yeah, I mean,
What are they going to
the people they're fighting, who cares?
Yeah.
So, Jeff, you want to tell me about the start of this race?
We start the race and Hamilton's going very slowly and lets Bottas and Vettel get in front of him. And then by the time we get into turn 3, Kimi runs into Hamilton's rear right wheel, and Hamilton is facing the wrong direction on the track. Neither car really seems damaged.
Yep.
And then Hamilton rejoins like P18 or 19.
I think it was
He was
literally
dead
last.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Worth noting, both Williams chose to start from the pit lane,
Yeah.
and Hartley tried
It's
and then
because
didn't
they
actually.
replaced their rear wings.
Okay.
When they were exiting the pit lane, didn't was it
Oh,
Ocon or
Jesus
something? Like
Christ.
Yes.
Perez slid face first across the pit exit.
Yep.
Yeah. That was crazy.
Yeah.
Even one of the commentators mentioned, they're like, if you start from the pit lane, generally you don't ever have to worry about the turn 1 crash. And then here comes a car literally like
Careening.
nose to nose sliding sideways across the pit exit lane, like right in front of one of the Williams.
Yeah. Stroll is lucky to have not got taken out on pit exit there. Yeah, Perez on turn 1 just is all over the place. I don't think he hit anyone. He just spun and then went across the pit exit and almost crashed into Stroll as he was coming out.
Yeah. I'm surprised that his car didn't break from that, actually.
Yeah, I think he came around and pitted and got new
Presumably,
tires.
those tires would be very flat.
Yep.
On one side.
Yeah, he continued on.
So that
After
that Kimi crash or incident with Hamilton resulted in a 10-second penalty,
Yes,
which seemed excessive.
Considering that neither car got damaged, really.
I mean, Raikkonen was
then-
complaining about his rear or something, right? Or
Raikkonen was
it-
complaining about his wing, and Hamilton was complaining that he said, guys, at least half my floor is gone. No, it's not. But considering that those cars, spoilers, were able to finish the race, whereas in France, Vettel ran into Bottas, punctured one of Bottas's wheels, and wrecked his front wing, and Vettel only got a 5-second.
and also ended his race, right?
Did it
No,
end?
Did he
no,
not?
both of them finished.
Okay,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
both of them finished that. It seemed like very similar sort of. I locked up going into the entrance of a corner, and my front hit somebody's wheel.
Yeah.
and caused that car to spin. 5-second versus 10-second.
Yeah, it seemed like a bit much. Afterwards, they asked Kimi about it. He's like, "Yeah, I don't know. I hit him, so I guess I deserved the penalty."
Very
It
Kimmy.
was very Kimi, just like, I don't know. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
So yeah, and then all of a sudden, yeah, you've got Hamilton at the back of the pack, and that is exciting. I always like to see one of the fast cars at the back because then you get to see them cut through the entire grid. And he does so very quickly.
Yeah, by lap 10, he'd made it all the way back up to P6.
Yeah.
So he carved his way through that field, which makes it seem like, yeah, your car's probably not broken.
Yep. Vettel's pulling away from Bottas pretty heavily.
Yeah,
Like
by
putting up
lap
a-
3, there's like a 3-second gap to P2.
Yep. And yeah, Max made it past Kimi because of that stuff with Hamilton, and Ricardo did as well, but Kimi pretty quickly takes him back over. And then Kimi's dogging Max for a good little bit, and clearly should be able to get past him. Like clearly is faster, especially on the straights, but he just can't
Max
make a
making that
pass.
car pretty wide.
Yep.
It's good driving.
And then Kimi is the first of the cars to pit,
Lap 13.
which seemed early, but I guess he was just getting frustrated behind Max.
Well, also, if there is the possibility of a safety car pitting early, getting that 10-second penalty out of the way
Yeah.
right now, and trying to just make that one stop happen. Did he switch on hards? Do you know?
He switched on to mediums.
Mediums. Okay.
According to the commentator's safety car weather report, there was a 60% chance of a safety car
Yes.
in this afternoon's race. Today's race.
Which I don't know how long in the past they're taking their data from, because like cars used to be much less reliable than they are now. So like if a car just like caught fire in the middle of nowhere, like that could cause a safety car, and like that's less likely to happen now.
Yeah, we've not seen a car just combust without hitting something first in quite a while.
Yeah.
Wait, didn't that happen like last race?
Yeah, but he ran into something.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Stroll, right?
Ericsson.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's always one or the other.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Kimi the first to pit, and then a few laps later, other cars start to pit. Max pits lap 17, and then the next lap, Ricardo comes in and pits as well. And because of his 10-second penalty, Ricardo has now jumped Kimi. And at this point, Hamilton is up into P3, I think,
Yeah, P2 or P3.
because he's not pitted.
Yeah.
And he's still just, pushing hard. And then what lap does Vettel come in? Because he's the next one in,
20.
right? 20? Yeah. So lap 20 out of 52, Vettel comes in, and this causes Bottas to pit pretty shortly after that, right?
Immediately. One lap later.
And then I think Hamilton comes in
At 25.
25. So yeah, he stays out a few more laps, trying to just hopefully get on the freshest tires he can to end the race. And then this continues for
10 laps. 9
Yeah.
laps.
10 laps. All these guys are all staying pretty close together. Hamilton trying to just like catch back up because his pit stop has put him in 6th again. And yeah, so everyone trying to get together. Lap
31.
31, Ricardo pits.
Oh,
30
30.
Ricardo pits.
lap
yeah.
30 Ricardo pits.
To go into some
I'm jumping to the
softs.
exciting stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and as soon as Ricardo came out, I was kind of sitting there mentally bracing myself for like, okay, here probably goes the train up to the finish. Let's just kind of settle in and see if anybody's going to actually be able to make a pass. Can Hamilton get around the Red Bulls? Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think at this point, Kimi had got past Ricardo, and maybe he was just like, oh, let's just change our strategy so we have something different than these people ahead of us, and we'll be fresher than them. And then literally the next lap, Marcus Ericsson just plows into a wall, safety car.
Good old Marcus Ericsson trying to make this race exciting for us. I think his DRS was still open when he went to turn in. I think is maybe what caused that.
I think your DRS can be open through that turn.
It can, but nobody did it during the race. Red Bull did it a little bit yesterday during qualifying, but they're high downforce cars, and Marcus Ericsson's in a Sauber. So I wouldn't trust its arrow to let me go around a corner with my DRS flap open.
Yeah. But in any case, yeah, he spun and then went into the wall.
He
and,
hit that wall pretty hard, too.
Yeah. And that brought out the safety car, which then led Verstappen, Kimi, and Vettel all to pit. And Bottas and Hamilton didn't, which seemed like a really weird choice, and like it might be a repeat of last weekend where Hamilton's like, why the fuck did we not pit when everyone else did?
But this time, they didn't have any more new softs.
Yeah.
Is what
But at this point, they were out of softs and they were out of mediums, so they'd be switching from their mediums to a used set of softs or a used set of mediums.
Yeah.
And Hamilton at this point is bitching over the radio to his engineer, and he's like, they're on much fresher tires than me. This is all going to be fucked. And Bonner's just like, you were the fastest car by miles out there, like, before this, so we think you'll be fine. And at that point, it like, cars had bunched up enough that it was too late to stop.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Hamilton, I can see leaving out because he'd only been out for 8 laps when this safety car happened. But, like, Bottas had been out a few laps further and was, like, further ahead and had a bigger gap. Like, I feel like they could have pitted Bottas. It was weird that they didn't. But I guess, again, he didn't have fresh tires to switch onto. So, yeah, that was that. And then they get back to racing. Vettel immediately going at Bottas. So since Bottas didn't pit, he's taken the lead. Vettel's P2. Vettel's immediately going after Bottas and is almost like getting alongside him and just can't make passes happen. And this goes on for like 2 laps. And then another safety car as Grosjean T-bones Carlos Sainz Jr.
Okay, that makes it sound more egregious than it was.
Yeah.
They're going around a corner side by
And
side.
he closed him off.
And Grosjean lost the rear of his car, tried to correct, and he was too close to Sainz to do anything other than drive into his side pod.
Yeah, it was definitely just a racing incident, and I cannot believe that it wasn't worse than it was, because, like, they collided, and then, like, Sainz just kind of gets collected and is getting, like, pushed along by Grosjean's car, and
Lifting up the right-hand side of his car, like, off the ground.
I cannot believe Sainz didn't roll. But yeah, they both are out at this point, and this one I think was just a racing incident. I don't think anyone's getting penalized for that. But yeah, this brings out another safety car, and at this point, the Mercedes are completely boned because they're already bunched up, can't pit. Yeah, then a few laps later, we get racing again, and it takes him a few laps, but eventually Vettel gets Bottas.
It was an amazing display.
Yeah, there was a
that
lot
entire
of
process.
good fighting in several places in the field, because Kimi's fighting with Max during this time as well, I believe.
Yeah.
And there was some really good racing in there.
Yeah, once you get that, I believe it was like Mercedes Ferrari going down the straight. Like that was sort of the shot of the entire race. That last 4 laps.
Yeah, it was a really good, like, aerial pan, just watching the 4 of these cars in procession.
It's like going through the chicanes. Yeah. I think one of the commentators called it like a glorious Formula One snake or something preposterous.
That's good. That's awful, but good.
Yep. So yeah, eventually Vettel gets Bottas, and then Hamilton catches Bottas and gets past him and is up into P2 at this point.
And the commentators weren't sure if that was, team orders or if that was just a natural thing.
Yeah, Devin and I were discussing this a little bit, and what made sense to me was Bottas probably used the rest of his tires up trying to fend off Vettel. So instead of let Hamilton get attacked by Kimi, it probably made more sense to let Bottas try to fend off Kimi and let Hamilton get around to try to preserve second place instead of potentially losing both.
Yeah.
So that's
How
my
much
guess.
do you think the team keeps an eye on like the drivers' championship when making those kinds of decisions?
According to Ferrari, they don't.
Yeah, Ferrari says they don't. I think Ferrari does very heavily. I think Mercedes less so. But, I mean, they still do. Like, I think, I assume it was team orders of just like, all right, Bottas' tires are in less shape. Hamilton's probably going to get past him. Let's let him by now so they don't, like...
Just make it painless.
Yeah, so they don't, like, ruin each other's tires trying to have this fight. And, yeah, so now it is Hamilton on his old mediums trying to chase down Vettel on his fresh softs.
And rather unsuccessfully because that gap immediately opens up.
Yeah,
he just runs away.
You kind of know that nothing's going to come of this just due to the tire age and softness.
What was it? His engineer said head down 5 laps.
Yep.
It's pretty good.
And, yeah, just keeps his head down and runs to the end. But...
During this time.
Yeah, so Max... Jeff, you said you saw like a puff of smoke come out of his car or something?
I thought I did, but I wasn't sure whether I had.
And it's like, that's worrying. And Ricardo is like closing the gap to him.
Yep.
Because at this point, it was Vettel, Hamilton, Bottas, Raikkonen, Max, Ricardo. And yeah, Ricardo was closing the gap to Max. And that is worrying because it's like, oh, they're on the same, like Max actually has slightly fresher tires. It's like Ricardo shouldn't probably be catching him like this. And that was weird. And then like all of a sudden Max just starts dropping places. Like,
Well, he spun out.
Spun,
He
and
spun
then
out
the
and
commentators are yelling about the Red Bulls ran into each other again.
yeah, which
And-
did not happen.
Yeah,
actually.
he spun and then he like popped the clutch. Like you saw a lot of wheel spin when he got going
Yeah.
again. And you said that it was ultimately a gearbox issue,
Yeah,
right?
they said what happened was they don't have a literal like in your road car where you have sort of a direct connection from your brake pedal to your brakes, like that you can follow through. There's a plunger that pushes on something and it increases the hydraulic pressure. They brake by wire, so you push something and a sensor tells the brakes to close. They said that he had a brake by wire failure, which is what caused the lockup and the spin. But I guess during the spin, it probably broke his transmission, and the Max got stuck in first gear.
Ugh. Yeah, that sucked because, like, the Red Bulls were looking, like, I feel like as good as they could have this weekend. Like, they were clearly down on speed compared to the other teams. And, like, for Max to have fended off Kimi as well and as long as he did throughout this race, it's like, yeah, this is great. And then just all of a sudden he's out with like 5 laps left or something.
Yeah.
And it was just like, that sucks.
Real bummer. He was very frustrated.
Yeah. And then the only other action that I really saw was like last lap, Gasly is fighting with Perez for P10 and like gets past him, but like clips his front wing off. Gasly's front wing gets broken a little bit, getting past Perez. And then Perez gets like run wide a little bit later. And Gasly gets P10 there. And then after the fact, they came back and gave Gasly a time penalty for that, which dropped him back to P13.
Bummer.
So Perez finishes P10 because of that. Like, it was a bit rough, but like looking at it, I didn't feel like either driver was at fault really. Like, I would have just said, no, this is a racing incident.
Yeah.
But I don't know, maybe I'm slightly biased.
Oh, we
in favor of
forgot to
Gasly.
We forgot to mention Leclerc retired because of a wheel not being put back on properly and getting an unsafe release. And so he
Yeah.
drove out of the pits and then immediately just pulled off. So
Yeah.
that's a real bummer. I want to see that guy do good.
Yeah. Because I think he's got points like the last 3 races before this
Maybe.
in a row.
I think it was mentioned that Sauber had some of the fastest pit stops in the previous races, so it's interesting to see them, dick one up.
Yep. Yeah, it's kind of weird. A lot of times the less good teams will be really good at pit stops. Like Williams historically is really good at pit stops.
I feel like that's one of the only things that is not entirely dependent on money.
Yeah.
It's just like, all right, you guys, 12 hours, get to work.
Take these wheels off and put these wheels back on for the next 12 hours.
Yep.
Until you can do it in your sleep.
Yeah, I can't believe, totally forgot to mention Leclerc retiring. And that was a bummer. What is our final finishing order here?
Vettel, Hamilton, Raikkonen, Bottas, Ricardo, Hulkenberg, Ocon, Alonso, Magnussen, and Perez.
A pretty good drive from Alonso to, I think he started like 13th, 12th or 13th, and managed to get up to P8. But I guess a handful of cars ahead of him did retire. So it gave him kind of some free spots. And now, with Vettel winning again, this puts him further away from Hamilton in the championship, though just barely. Vettel now has 171 points. Hamilton is just 8 points behind him. Raikkonen is in third place, 47 points behind Hamilton. Ricardo is in fourth, 10 points behind Raikkonen. Bottas is up to fifth, 2 points behind Ricardo. And Verstappen, with his DNF, is in sixth, 11 points behind Bottas. Meanwhile, in the Constructors' Championship, Ferrari is leading. Mercedes only 20 points behind Ferrari. And Red Bull is 68 points behind Mercedes. So, again, with Max not finishing, Red Bull's deficit is growing compared to Mercedes. But still, 68 points is not a huge gap to Mercedes. Like, if you told me Red Bull would be fighting as much with like Mercedes and Ferrari this year as they have been, I would not have believed you.
Yeah, I think their biggest issue is just consistency.
Yeah. The number of, imagine how close it would be if they didn't have, how many, they've had 2 double DNFs this season, and
not to mention all of Max's.
Yeah, and then all of the
DNFs.
DNFs that
Double DNFs?
Yes. Bahrain and then Azerbaijan. Bahrain, they both DNF'd at the beginning, and then Azerbaijan, Baku, they ran into each other.
I don't remember Bahrain.
Bahrain is the one where I don't remember what Max got a puncture trying to pass Hamilton at the beginning of the race on the outside, and then Ricardo's electronics just shut down.
Honestly,
They'd be doing really
they
well.
might be winning.
I don't know about that.
If they had finished all of those in the places they were,
Yeah.
like, that might be 68 points. Or they might be in second then.
Maybe.
Yeah, geez.
What a world it could have been.
Yep.
Maybe we'll see next year with Honda.
God, I hope so.
Same.
I hope that Honda deal
But I am anxious about
works
it.
out. Yeah. Honestly, Toro Rosso, like, I feel like the Hondas in the straights this weekend looked about the same as most of the Renaults, like as far as how slow they were. So maybe it's I don't know. It's
like the Toro Rossos with the Hondas are doing better than the McLarens with the Hondas.
Yeah.
Which is hopefully promising.
Yeah.
Because if the Toro Rossos can do that, imagine a car with better aero.
Yep. And when Honda's got 4 cars to develop with, that should be very helpful as well.
Has Daniel signed a contract yet?
He is not.
Yeah, still no news one way or the other on that, but we'll see.
I expect we'll hear more about that sort of stuff after the summer break.
Probably.
Which, speaking of next race, as we already mentioned, this is the last race of the triple header. So our next race
is in von Württemberg, Germany, the Hockenheimring,
yes,
2 weeks from today.
Which is the first time we've been to Germany in a few years. But yeah, 2 weeks from today. Qualifying is that Saturday at 8 a.m. and the race Sunday at 8 a.m. Central Time, just like the last couple were.
Nice.
So these
yeah.
are all really easy races to watch live.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
For anyone in the country, really. Well, California, are they 1 or 2 hours behind right
Two.
now?
I think too.
Kind of a bummer for them, but
So that's pretty much it. This was a really exciting race.
the last 10 laps were very, very exciting, very tense.
Yeah.
Thanks, Marcus Ericsson. You did something good for the sport.
Yep. Yeah. Either of you have anything else you want to mention?
Looking forward to the Hockenheim Ring. I like that track.
Yes, same. Haven't been there in I don't know when the last time Germany actually was on the calendar. Well, I guess they've been on the calendar. I don't know when the last time they actually went there. I think they were on the calendar in 2015,
Yeah, I think I recall.
but didn't actually go. Like they were scheduled to go, and then they're like, nope, can't do this, actually.
So you said it was a financial issue. So is it just like the management of the track doesn't know how to capitalize on a Formula One race?
I think it's a problem for all the tracks.
Yeah,
But
it's Formula One wants a lot of money. Like Silverstone is currently in the process of trying to renegotiate again because they're contracted for 2019, but I think 2020 they're not.
All right, it says Hockenheim Ring 2002, 2006, 2008, 10, 12, 14, and 16. And I assume 16 is the one that didn't happen. So
Yes.
maybe 2014 was the last one?
Maybe 2015 because
There
they
was
were
not one in 2015.
look Nürburgring. They were alternating
I just
for a
said
year.
German Grand Prix was the only thing I looked up, not Hockenheim Ring.
Does Formula One race on the Nürburgring?
They used
not
to.
the Nordschleife any longer. They race on just like the GP circuit
Oh, okay.
that uses like part of that track, but no, they don't.
How many laps do they do there? It's probably a typical race.
Yeah,
of course, but
it's much more similar to any other course.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no. Nico Rosberg took pole position at the 2016.
Oh, so there was one in 2016. Was there,
Okay.
I guess 2015 is what I was thinking of where it didn't happen.
Probably.
And I forgot about it in 2016. But yeah, Germany coming up. But yeah, I think that'll just about do us for today. So yeah, catch you next week. Goodbye.
We'll think of something to talk about. Oh wait, yes. Sorry, yeah.
Yes.
We'll think of something.
need to get everyone a Red Bull.
Goodbye.
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 Goodbye.